join in on my computer as well so that I can monitor for questions. In tonight's workshop, we're going to be doing part 2 of dream interpretation techniques. So we did part 1 last week. I started off by kind of talking about why I don't advise relying on dream dictionaries. If you are someone who is a serious practitioner of dream work, you're interested in dreaming and lucid dreaming, dream yoga, things like that, I would not advise relying on the dictionaries, dream dictionaries. And I actually got a few comments on Instagram that some people weren't even aware what dream dictionaries are. So if you happen to be someone who is in that crew, then dream dictionaries, basically, if you go online, you can search for a dream dictionary and you can type in a dream image like chocolate if you had a dream about chocolate, or say you had a dream about a bear and you want to look up bear, getting comfortable, and it will tell you the meaning of a bear being in your dream. But I find that those meanings, sometimes they can be accurate, but many times they're not, and they're not precise enough to really tell you anything anyway. So I think that a much better, hey Keena, how you doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm just reviewing a little bit from last week, and we're gonna dive one in. I'm gonna go through housekeeping in a second. But anyway, last time I talked about why I would not advise using Dream Dictionary. So if you missed that, go ahead and look back at that workshop and you can get that information. Let me go to my notes. Let me go ahead and just go through housekeeping really quickly so we can go ahead and get started. As always, housekeeping item number 1 is going to be interaction as I'm going through the content and the information this evening. If you have any questions, comments, experiences, anything that you want to ask about, anything that you want to talk about, if I say something and you're confused and you don't understand, do not sit on the other side of the screen bamboozled and bewildered. Just drop your question in the comment section. I'm very good about paying attention to what comes up and answering your question and fitting it into the context of whatever we are speaking about, okay? So go ahead and drop whatever you need. Second housekeeping item is going to be sharing is caring. On Instagram, our workshops are available for replay for 24 hours. After that, I take them down and they are uploaded into my online school. Here on YouTube, the workshops remain up there, so you can always revisit them and revisit the activities and everything. But if you do find this content and this information valuable, share with a friend, family member, loved one. If you know somebody who is interested in this, I know a lot of this stuff is like very niche, not a lot of people are, but if you know somebody who's interested in lucid dreaming and dream work and personal development and stuff like that, please share this video with them. Maybe this information is to go through you tonight, and someone is looking for this, and just like you're trying to grow, I'm trying to grow too, so please help me out. My third housekeeping item is going to be my text list. I do have a notification system where I will send out, alerts 10 to 15 minutes before I go live. If you do want to join that, you can text the word HIYER, HIYER, to 888-533-6979. Text the word HIYER, HIYER, to 888-533-6979. One more time for the people in the back. I know on Instagram I can type and pin. Maybe I can do that here, but I haven't figured that out yet, so I just repeat it. You're going to text the word HIYER, HIYER, to 888-533-6979, okay? The workbook, the Dream Work workbook is on sale. The workbook bundle, it does come with 2 workbooks, Intro to Dream Work and Lucid Dreaming, and Dream Work for Personal Development. Both of those are fillable PDFs, beautifully designed. They have activities, exercises, journaling prompts, how-tos, videos, links to external resources, guided meditation, scientific studies, all kinds of stuff. If you really want to dive in deeper and learn more about dream work, lucid dreaming, how to become lucid, how to actually use this practice and apply it for a purpose in your life. And if you want to dive in even deeper than the workbook, check out the masterclass series that has more than 10 hours worth of content, and both of the workbooks are made to go with that material. Okay, so you can check that out. Just tap the link in my bio. Well, here on YouTube we have the description box, so you'll find the links to all of that in the description box. We also have the mystery school, so I'm gonna start giving private workshops off of Instagram, off of YouTube. It's gonna be housed in Patreon, and I'm gonna dive in deeper into a lot of the esoteric topics that people are asking me about. I remember when I first started dream work and lucid dreaming, a lot of people had questions about communing with the divine and speaking with the deceased and things like that. And I said, many of those things are going to be very difficult for you to do. Not impossible, but difficult for you to do if you can't even remember your dream from last night. If you do not have good dream recall, if you don't practice mindfulness meditation, if you don't have... Oh, there's spam. I didn't even know this could do that. How do I do this? Sorry, y'all. How do I do it? What is going on? Sorry, y'all. It's spam coming in the comments, and I'm trying to handle that. Report. Okay. I know, Keena. I was like, what? What is that? Never had that happen before. So, it kind of threw me off. Like, what was I even talking about? Let me go to my notes. Oh, Sunday Space. Sunday Space, the new moon and full moon ceremonies, the mystery school. I'm going to start teaching about a lot of those topics: astral projection, lucid dreaming. I'm going to talk about a lot of stuff, a lot of things that I feel like in my business, honestly, I try to straddle the border between... I don't want people to associate me with spirituality like I'm a spirituality coach. I'm a personal development coach. I help you get from point A to point B in your life, whatever that may be specifically for you. I work in the 7 areas of life, but I do use these metaphysical techniques as my tools. That's what works for me. That's what I have experience in. That's what I share with you all. But I try not to dive too far off the deep end into like a spiritual type of thing, a lot of that people associate with metaphysics, and I try not to go that direction. But a lot of people do ask about those topics, and I'm not saying I don't know about them. I'm just saying that typically I don't teach about that. I try to stay to sticking to, staying to my lane, which is personal development. But since there is a call for that, and I have done things in the past like the full moon and the new moon ceremonies where we use the power of the moon and the lunar energy in order to set our intentions, in order to get clarity. I've guided you through EFT and mindfulness meditation and journaling prompts and things like that. Those are activities that I do in my personal life. That is how I live my life. You could probably tell, if you've consumed a lot of my content, I live a very natural lifestyle. I do, even when we did the masterclass series on law of attraction and manifestation, I told you then, I showed you my system of manifestation via the solar cycle and the lunar cycle, and my preferences toward the lunar cycle. So I do teach a lot of these topics, but I always try to gear them back towards personal development and goal achievement and habit setting and, things like that. But since there is a call for something else, I have developed a little plan. So I am going to have those monthly workshops. There's going to be lots of different benefits, and there's lots of different ways you can participate. So all you have to do is go to my Easy Tree or click on the Patreon. Ultimately, you're going to have to go to the Patreon page, and that's where it is. So you can get all of that information there. And then the last thing that I wanted to talk about was the giveaway. So I am doing a self-care bundle giveaway. This actually is not my journal. It's not my workbook, but I love going to bookstores. And me and my friend Rashid, he has a YouTube channel. So if you are interested in, I believe it is called Urban Exploring. I'm gonna have to make sure I did not mess that up. I should probably I should interview him sometime and have him talk about it. I'm gonna see if I can get him to come on next week and talk about what he does. But he has a YouTube channel here. It's very big. It's called Sheednomics, SED. Sheepnomics. So go ahead and follow him. But me and him were out together, and we went to a bookstore, and I found a few books. I've got a few ideas for giveaways just because I want to give back and I want people to, be able to engage in personal development and use these tools. And I like stuff like this. So I found this anti-anxiety journal. It is full of journaling prompts and activities. Like, look, it has different colored sections, with different types of activities. And I just thought that was really cool. Writing prompts to keep you calm and stress free. So I love this. Really? The spam is back. How do I? Is this the same person? How do I hide user on this channel? Okay, wow. That's crazy. Um, so anyway, writing prompts to keep you calm and stress free. Like, we're keeping calm and stress free because the spammers are creeping in here. That's what you have to do. You have to keep calm and stress free when the spammers creeping into your life. So I have this. I also wanted to give away a crystal pin. You all know that I have handmade crystal jewelry. I haven't really talked about that here on my YouTube. If you're watching, probably you're coming here from Instagram. I talk about that over there. So I also have a Instagram page, Higher Creations, Hiyer, spelled the same way. But I love these crystal pins. This one has a clear quartz on top, so I thought, it would be good to have a crystal pin to go with your anti-anxiety journal. I thought that I've been reporting for you. Thank you so much, Kina. I appreciate it. I'm like, what is that? I'm gonna have to ask my friend about that because that's absolutely crazy. Never in my life. And then also you're gonna get a tin of my chai tea. So I have my website for my physical products, higheralignment.com. But I don't have teas on there. I used to have when the back in when Instagram when we were back in COVID, like really during the lockdown, a lot of people were doing live sales, including me. That's where I would sell lots of the things like the attraction oils and the incense and just back then I sold crystals. I don't sell crystals now. I just make them into crystal jewelry. So my business has changed, but back then I did live sales before we had the physical website, and I had hand blended teas with nootropic herbs and herbs that work with the adrenal glands. Those are my preference, but also like relaxing herbs and things like that. I talk about, I give you all tips on herbs and teas and things like that every once in a while, like lifestyle tips. So I wanted to also include chai tea. It was the most popular. It always sold out immediately. And then I'm gonna give you the option of adding an ashwagandha or reishi mushroom powder, whichever you prefer, and both of those help with stress and stress relief. So I felt like the anti-anxiety journal, the pen, the tea would go well. And then you're also going to get access to the EFT Masterclass series. So it contains more than 4 hours worth of content regarding EFT. I teach EFT here. We have the EFT series. This masterclass series goes into depth, and once again, it comes with one of those workbooks. So you're really gonna get everything that you need to create like a nice grounding practice to take care of yourself, and a small, easy way, and you'll learn some new tools. So check out my Instagram page. It's gonna say the self-care bundle giveaway. Just look for that post and you'll see it'll just ask you to do a few things. Make sure that you're following me on Instagram at Higher Alignment. Make sure that you're subscribed here to the Higher Alignment YouTube channel. And then you'll repost the second page of that carousel, which just says, have you heard about Higher Alignment? And make sure you tag me in your repost. That's how you get your entry. Every day that you do that, you can get an additional entry, so you can continue to get entries. And there are other ways, like leaving a meaningful comment on any YouTube video or tagging someone below that post and referring them and telling them why you like my service or why they should follow me. Those things will also get you additional entries. Okay, So that's all that I have for you. Let's go ahead and dive into this content, okay? If you made it this far, we're right about the 15-minute mark, and that's what I always say. So, we're right on time. I can run my mouth for about 15 minutes before we dive into tonight's content, to the content any night. I am trying to get better on it though, okay? I'm trying to like condense it down. If you don't know who I am, if this is your first time here, welcome, welcome, welcome. Make sure to go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the bell icon and follow me on Instagram as well. My name is Aaron. I am a certified life coach, mindfulness and meditation practitioner, and mindset guru. I'm here to bring you the tips, tools, and techniques that you can use in order to create a positive shift and transformation in your life. More crazy comments. I'm not sure what it is. I'm going to keep on rolling though. Um, I'm trying. I said I was gonna keep on rolling, but I'm distracted by it now. So I teach in the 7 areas of life. I use metaphysical techniques like EFT, like lucid dreaming, like dream work, in order to help you achieve your goals to get from point A to point B in life. And I'll show you a new way, a new way, new things. Tonight is part 2 of our workshop on dream interpretation. Last time, once again, I talked to you about dream dictionaries, why I don't advise that you use those. And we started also talking about Eugene Gendlin's technique and the text. He has a text as well, let your body interpret your dreams. So I will have this here for you, and I will also try my best to remember to put an Amazon link to this text in the description box. So in case you want to check it out, it's really, really good. Once again, just to review, in case you haven't watched that portion of the video, you haven't watched that video, I'm not gonna go as into depth, but Eugene Gendlin, he has this technique called focusing, which I should have pulled that book as well. That's his original work, Focusing. And it's a technique. I've taught the technique of here on Higher Alignment, not on YouTube. It was on Instagram. It was years ago. I think I only taught it one time. But it's very much working with the body and allowing the body to speak to you. So you're learning his technique called focusing, which is kind of like getting into this meditative state and once again grounding yourself in the body and asking a question and allowing the body to respond. And he has identified that you'll feel as what he calls a felt sense, which I call like a eureka or a aha. Like when you're searching for an answer and then you kind of get this body feeling right before you get that intellectual answer. They kind of come simultaneously, but the body feeling kind of comes first, and then the intellectual answer appears, and you just have this feeling of, yes, I got it, that's it. You're using this system and allowing the body to communicate to you through that, and there's a series of questions and explorations that you go through regarding the dream and the content of the dream, and you're allowing the body to interpret that dream for you. If you have the workbook, so I talked about the workbook during housekeeping, but if you have the workbook, go ahead and turn to page 17, and this is in the intro to Dream Work and Lucid Dreaming workbook. So once again, let me just review a little bit from there, just from page 17 on. It starts off talking about dream interpretation. It gives you a few key points to note. There are 4 points right there, and these kind of go along with what I'll be talking about in a moment. Robert Johnson's work. 4 key points that kind of you use as checks and balances in order to make sure the interpretation of your dream is correct. Like the first one is take the dream as fact and be humble before the dream. The material of the dream manifests from your, it says subconscious, it should be unconscious. From your unconscious, many times dreams will present something to you, perhaps an experience, a memory, a suppressed thought, or a belief. The more you deny the content, the more you suppress its significance. And I think I have another very short YouTube video on habits, 5 habits or 4 habits that are not helping your dream practice. And one of those is wake centricity. This is what Andrew Holacek, he coined this term. And it's basically perceiving your experience and really only validating your waking state experiences, and kind of not valuing your dreams or not valuing experiences that have happened to you in other states of consciousness. And you get this when you hear parents say to a child, oh, it was just a dream, like your nightmare was just a dream. They're trying to calm the child down, and soothe the child, but it creates this perception that dreams are important, or they are somehow, from the level of the brain. The neurons in the brain fire exactly the same way in the waking state that as they do in the dream state. From the brain's perspective, there is no difference between waking and dreaming. And a lot of these masters, you hear about masters from these different traditions, especially in the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, and they say the same thing, that there is no difference between the waking and the dreaming state. And there's also a third state. Well, there are multiple states, but there's another state that people tend to forget about, the dreamless sleep state. And this is where we have practices like sleep yoga. So if you are interested in dream yoga and sleep yoga, thank you, Lynetta. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You snuck in here. I didn't even see you. Thank you for reporting, everybody. I appreciate it, because I'm like, what? That's never happened before. What is that? But there's also another state, the dreamless sleep state. And I don't know who said this quote, but I heard it. And they said that which does not appear in the dreamless sleep state is not real. And this kind of goes along with the practices of illusory form. And a lot of this is very esoteric. So I'm sorry if I'm losing everybody, if I'm losing anybody. I want to pepper some of this in here for those of you who are interested in dream yoga and sleep yoga in illusory form. This kind of relates back to that. But anyway, coming on back, we want to take the experiences that we have in the dream state as valid. We don't want to invalidate the dream. That's not going to help you engage and have a more intimate dream work practice, and it's not going to help you interpret your dreams, okay? And if you have the workbook, then there are 3 more tips, 3 more guidelines that you want to use when you are interpreting your dreams, in order to make sure that you're like staying on track and getting an accurate interpretation. And once again, even coming back to this is why I don't advise using dream dictionaries, because you don't have like a checks and balances system. You don't actually have a technique. Anyway, moving on, we have the section on shifts in psychic material, and I covered that last time, the 3 types of shifts: displacement, condensation, and representation. We talked about that. That's on page 18. If you scroll down to page 19, it kind of gets into the dream interpretation technique on this page, and it invites you to go ahead and settle into your space and place of focused relaxation, so you can do the following. It gives you 3 steps, and it guides you down to getting into your body so that you can begin using a technique like focusing on the body, allowing the body to speak to you to interpret your dream. And then it has a series of self-exploration questions. Now, these are common in my journal, in my workbooks. I always have self-exploration questions. I typically will have 2 sections: self-exploration questions and coordination prompts, and they work together in order to get you to express information and then go back and connect the dots after it has been expressed. Anytime you have self-exploration questions or coordination prompts, those are always fillable, so you can double tap if you are on like a tablet or on your laptop, and you can type right in there. And I do advise that you do that, especially if you are, engaging in one of the master classes where we're going through question by question and section by section and diving even deeper. You might as well go ahead and do the activities while you're watching the videos, or while even if you're here live and you have this workbook, you can kind of, that's why I'm giving you the pages, so you can look at the pages, know where everything is, and then, go back and begin working with the material. If you haven't gotten that workbook, it is on sale right now for $15.15. It comes with 2 workbooks: Intro to Dream Work and Lucid Dreaming, and Dream Work for Personal Development. Both of them work together. They are fillable PDFs. They can contain our activities, exercises, how-to, self-exploration prompts, coordination prompts. They contain videos, links to external resources, guided meditations, scientific studies, So you can see I packed a lot of information into the workbooks, and there's even more inside of the masterclass series, which also has that addition of the video content and access to the private Facebook group as well. So though that information will be in the description box. But you have a series of self-exploration questions now beginning on page 19, and it goes down, and then you have your coordination prompts, which begin on page 20, and you can see there are a number of them. They go all the way down to page 23. And going through this type of dream interpretation technique is going to allow you to get a more accurate interpretation rather than using the dream dictionaries. So you have that outline there for you, okay? So let's go ahead and move forward, and let's talk about, so that was Eugene Gendlin's technique. Let's talk about Robert A. Johnson's technique. And the technique that I have in my workbook is kind of a fusion between both, also my own personal experience and, you know, what I personally do for dream interpretation. But there is a section, let me go back to the workbook really quickly so I can give you this information as well. Robert A. Johnson. You know, yeah, it's there's no way for me to like tease it apart. You'll kind of get I'll explain his technique alone, and then if you have the workbook or if you are interested in that, go ahead and get the workbook or get the masterclass series, and just explore those pages beginning at page 19. Let's talk about Robert A. Johnson. His book is called Inner Work, Using Dreams and Active Imagination for Personal Growth. Active imagination is another energy work technique that I really, really enjoy. I don't use it that often, but I actually teach it to clients who don't like journaling. So I have had clients that do not like journaling, that is not their thing, and you all know that I really, once again, even, you know, in my intro, I tell you, I'm here to give you tips, tools, and techniques. I know lots of tips. I know lots of tools. I know lots of techniques. I have my personal preferences. But if you don't prefer something that I prefer, then we do something else. So active imagination is one of those activities. And it's kind of like, I would say, a system of self-talk where information is able to flow up to the conscious from the unconscious mind if you get into it deep enough and have access to that, and you can use it to reprogram your thoughts to make agreements with yourself. If that sounds interesting to you, leave me a comment below this video and let me know that you want a video on active imagination or you want a workshop on active imagination, and maybe we can explore that. But in his book, Robert A. Johnson, in his book, Inner Work, he talks a lot about dreams. The first section is all about dreams, and he divides it down into 4 different steps, which I actually love these steps, y'all. I love these steps, and this is basically the framework that I use for my own personal dream interpretation practice. You know that I do have dream interpretation sessions, but I also switch out some of the activities, and, you know, I fill in with my own other things. But I love this as this 4-step process as a framework. So the first step is associations, and this is where you're going to go through the dream piece by piece, image by image, and you're going to pull out all of the symbols and things that are there, all of the dream figures and the locations, any symbols, any important events, even emotions, like all of the things. If you've been following along in this series, or, you know, if you're watching this as a part of a workshop series, then you probably have heard me talk about dream signs, especially if you're interested in lucid dreaming. You have dream signs. So you're basically collecting all of those dream signs, and then you're beginning to make associations with them. And this is basically like the brainstorming process. So you're not yet narrowing down that information, you're just brainstorming. So I think I gave the example before. I got it from here. So here, let me read from this page. Suppose you have a dream that begins, I am in a blue room. The first image you have to work with is the color blue. These might be the associations you would produce. Blue, sad or depressed. Blue mood, I've got the blues. Blue moon, color of clarity, cool. Detached consciousness contrasted with lively. emotional red. My blue sweater, I usually wear blue. My grandmother's living room, always blue. Blue, BLEW, blown away, or true blue means honest and faithful. So it's just making a list of associations with that dream image. You're not yet trying to say, oh, this is the one that applies to my life. You're not doing that. You're just brainstorming. So you're going through all of the dream images and all of the dream symbols, and you are making these associations. Okay, if that makes sense so far, go ahead and drop me a number 8 in the comment section below. Let me know that you're picking up what I'm putting down, that you're smelling what I'm stepping in, that it is making sense. I want to make sure that I haven't lost anybody so far as I'm going through this content and information. If you cannot give me an 8, just go ahead and drop me your question and I will clarify for you. So step 1 in his 4-step process is making your associations. Thank you, Lynetta. I appreciate it. And he has, more information, lots of examples going on. Second step is going to be dynamics. Thank you, Kina. I appreciate it. Second step is going to be dynamics. And this is where you are going back and you are taking those associations and you are applying them to your current waking state experience and looking at which of those associations are going to be most appropriate, or which of them, even have the most emotional charge to them as it relates to something that's going on in your life. So you've made your associations, you've made your dynamics, you've looked at the dynamics of your life. Hey, Aaron, can't sleep, so I decided to pop in and say hello from Switzerland. Much love. Hey, Angela, how are you doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's my friend Angela from Switzerland, y'all. Angela, oh my goodness. Angela sent me some chocolate one time, you all. I am still dreaming about the chocolate. It was so good. Hey, Angela, thanks for stopping in. We have to chat and catch up soon. If you can't sleep, go ahead and stay up. I'm talking about dreams and dream work right now, dream interpretation. So maybe you're right on time, okay? So my first step for you was making associations. So you would just go through your dream, look at all of the dream images and make associations, figure out what is this image mean to me, what I associate this, because remember, dreams speak to us in symbols and metaphors. Hey, yes, Lynetta, yes. It feels so good. I'm so glad to see people and Lynetta and Angela and Kina. Hey, everybody in the community. So your second step is going to be the dynamics, applying those dynamics to your life, looking at the associations and seeing, yes, this live is going to stay on my YouTube. So if you go on my YouTube, there's a section, it says live workshop series or live workshops, and those are all of the live workshops. I leave them up there. So step 3 is going to then be interpretation. So it says the interpretation of your dream is the end result of all the work you have put into the earlier steps of dream work. The interpretation ties together all the meanings you have drawn from the dream into one unified picture. It is a coherent statement of what the dream means to you as a whole. At this stage, you ask questions like, what is the central most important message that this dream is trying to communicate to me? What is it advising me to do? What is the overall meaning of the dream for my life? So this is when you're actually putting together all of that information. You're discovering your meaning. What is this dream trying to tell me? And then once you get to that point, once again, if you have the workbook, that's when you will want to go back up to page 18, and you want to look at those key points right there, because those are going to make sure that you are giving an accurate interpretation for your dream. But also, let me tell you, if you get this book, there are some other questions, I believe. Yes. So let's go ahead and look at these, just to make sure that this information is noted. 4 principles for validating interpretations. So, perfect. So I will try to sleep now and check it later. Thank you so much, Aaron. I've been looking forward to interpretations because that's what I've been struggling with. Okay, well, this workshop is here for you. It's gonna be here when you're ready for it. 4 principles for validating dream interpretations. Okay, so it says these are some general principles, like some guidelines, checks, and balances. 1, choose an interpretation that shows you something you didn't know. So clearly, dreams, if you're following my approach and the approach of Robert A. Johnson and people who have similar perspectives, the dream is trying to get you to integrate information or knowledge that you are currently not accessing in the waking state because you're suppressing it or you're repressing it. So most likely it's going to be trying to give you information about something that you don't consciously know. So if your interpretation of your dream kind of is something that you already know, or even this is the thing, I always say about being open, honest, and authentic. You really want to be able to look at yourself and look at what you're doing in this objective way so that you, once again, like even what we're doing now, this system of checks and balances, don't be deluded. Don't put on those rose-colored glasses. Are you purposely or purposely but unconsciously interpreting your dream in order to affirm something that you already want to think? Like you're just using your interpretation of this dream as a reason to do something that you already want to do. Like you're not actually interpreting the dream. You know what I mean? Like you're kind of using the dream as your reason or your affirmation, even though the dream may not be saying that at all, because that's something that you already know. So this is the first thing, choose an interpretation that shows you something you didn't know. The second one, avoid the interpretation that inflates your ego or is self-congratulatory. So avoid interpretations that are saying, you're the only person who can do this and no one's better than you. And once again, kind of even like going along with the reasoning from the first one, using this as affirmation of something that you want to consciously believe. You're not really looking at the situation. You're kind of being blinded by your emotions, and you're using this as a reason to puff yourself up. Like that's not what you want. That's not giving you an accurate interpretation of your dream either. That's distorting. That's distortion. And if you're distorting, then you're not seeing clearly, and you're definitely not interpreting clearly. 3, avoid interpretations that shift responsibility away from yourself. So I talk about this when we talked about like limiting beliefs, and I occasionally in my work I go back and forth between teaching you all like directly about the 7 areas of life: health and fitness, relationships, career, finance, personal development, spirituality, and recreation, and teaching using like tools like metaphysics, like dream work and lucid dreaming, dream yoga, things like that. So I kind of waver in between here so that you learn purposes and you also learn tools and techniques, so you're getting a blend of them both. But I talk about this when I'm on the other end of that spectrum, and I'm talking about, thoughts, beliefs, patterns of behavior, habits. I call it externalizing blame. A lot of people externalize blame when they don't want to accept responsibility, or they're trying to shift the feelings. Like when you accept responsibility, there is like a little bit of vulnerability in that. It's not guilt or shame, but there is kind of like responsibility or fault, And a lot of people try to avoid that feeling, so they will blame someone else or they will blame something else outside of themselves. But what they don't realize is that throws your own personal power off. It's kind of saying, I didn't have any power to get myself in this situation, but inherently in that means kind of like I don't have any power to get myself out of this situation either. Versus you notice honestly, people who blame others and blame life, they suffer. People who blame others and blame life and blame this, these people always suffer. These people struggle. So these are like the hardest struggling people, the people who have that mindset and that narrative. And people who tend to take responsibility, they don't suffer like that because it gives them the power to get out of whatever it is to make the moves that they need to make. It comes down to your mindset, and I say things like, if you want something bad enough, no excuse will keep you from it. And if you don't want it, any excuse will do. It's that same thing. So with dream interpretation, you kind of want to, the dream is about you. Even I had someone ask me, they said, they had a dream about a loved one who had passed away. The loved one was in the coffin, but they couldn't see the face of the loved one. And they were like, does this mean that this person is trying to communicate with me, or this is an entity trying to, this being is trying to communicate with me? And that's also what people ask me, before, or even like people will say, I dreamt about my ex last night. Does that mean my ex is thinking about me, or they're trying to reach out to me? No, if the dream is about you, it's not about somebody else's. Don't take it away from you. This is about you. This is your dream. This is your dream. So avoid interpretations that shift responsibility away from yourself. And that last one, learn to live with dreams over time. Fit them into the long-term flow of your life. So sometimes you may not be able to understand the dream or get a full perspective or a full understanding like right in the moment. It may be a dream that you have to live with. Okay, you have to live with. You have to allow it to grow with you. And sometimes you see these repetitive types of dreams as well. So his last step is rituals, and I do include this as well. I love this because once again, even my one-on-one technique. First of all, let me check the energy in the room because I feel like I've been rambling. Draw me an 8. Are you still with me? Everything makes sense so far from steps 1 through 3 and the 4 rules for 4 principles for validating dream interpretations. Does that make sense? Drop me a number 8 in the comment section if that makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, drop me your question so I can clarify. I want to make sure that you picking up what I'm putting down and that you're getting what you need, because a lot of people don't dive into depth about dream interpretation, and it's kind of like a topic that is hard to get information about. Okay, perfect. So the last step is going to be rituals, and I love this because once again, I always talk about dream work for personal development. I went through my entire spiel at the beginning. So I do believe in using dream work for personal development. I do use it in my personal life for other things. I don't really use it to communicate with the divine. I do use it to have experiences with the deceased. I do use it to investigate reality. I do use it to have deeper experiences than just manipulating my dreams as well. If those types of things sound interesting to you, make sure to check out the mystery school, and you're going to sign up through Patreon. But bringing it back to personal development, I do believe that once you have the information that you're looking for, you need to take action. A part of what I teach you all here in my system on higher alignment is always about goal achievement and habit development. I talk about that a lot. I bring it up a lot. I teach you all techniques and tools specifically to meet your goals, to develop your habits, to release limiting beliefs, because in my opinion, that's what makes lasting lifestyle changes. If you want to change your life in any of the 7 areas of life, it doesn't matter what it is. It comes down to your thoughts, your beliefs, your patterns of behavior, and you need to develop new habits. And ritual work is a beautiful way of doing that, and a beautiful way of honoring your dreams. Now, does that mean that you need to be lighting candles and invoking deities and things like that? No, that's not what that means. So, don't associate the word ritual with like religious or anything like that. It just means taking action. So the example that I gave before, whenever the last time I taught this, was, say you had a dream and you interpreted the dream, and you felt like the central figure was your inner child, and the inner child was basically telling you through this dream that it felt neglected, that you have been working too much, you haven't been taking care of it. And so your ritual now is going to be, you say, you know what, now that I acknowledge that and I see that in my life, I've been working very hard. I haven't been giving myself any time off. I'm not engaging any hobbies or hanging out with my friends or just having fun. I haven't been using my creativity at all, and this part of me is feeling sucked dry. And so you have the information. So of course the next step is, okay, well, what do I do about that? Hopefully you didn't get to this point just to interpret your dream and just leave it there. That would be foolish, just being honest. So your ritual is going to be what you're going to do next. So maybe you make an agreement with this part of yourself and you say, you know what? Let me work my 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, you know, and don't interject into yourself in this negative way like this into my experience. And every weekend I will dedicate an entire day, or I will dedicate 2 hours to engaging in creative work and fun work. And my dog is pacing, so I'm just like, is he getting comfortable or are you giving me a sign? I'm almost done. We'll go for a walk in a moment. But maybe you make this agreement with this inner child part of yourself. You say, you know what, every weekend I'm going to spend X amount of time and I'm going to do some puzzles. I'm going to paint. I'm going to go swing on the swings. I'm going to go to the playground. I'm going to go to museums. I'm going to go to live music events. I'm going to go have fun. I'm going to live my life every weekend. On Saturday night, I'm going to go hang out with my friends. I'm going to let my hair down. I'm not going to think about work. I'm not going to do anything like that, so I can get in touch and honor my inner child that is speaking to me through this dream. So this brings it full circle, and you can bring your dream work once again into your personal development, into your self-care. Allow your dreams and your dream work to nourish you, to encourage you, to support you in your personal development journey. And as you move through your life, trying to and successfully, we're putting that out there, successfully accomplishing your goals and achieving your dreams and changing your life, whatever that may look like for you. Dream work is an important practice. It is an important practice for me. It's kind of like my bread and butter. It's what I do, and that's why I like to come back to it on Higher Alignment every once in a while. So hopefully this information has helped you learn just a little bit more about dream interpretation. If everything makes sense, go ahead and drop me an 8 one more time in the comment section. Let me know that we are good to go and we are ready to roll, that you are picking up what I'm putting down, that you have sufficiently smelled what I was stepping in, and that you do not have any questions about dream interpretation. If you do have any questions about dream interpretation, go ahead and drop those in the comment section. I will be more than happy to answer them. You see my dog is keeping my arm busy. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and head out of here, and tomorrow I am going to update the description box. Next week I'm going to be doing a series called the Doing a Different Workshop series, where I'm going to interview different coaches, leaders. I'm going to be speaking with a vegan chef who we're going to be talking about transitioning to a plant-based diet. I'm going to be speaking with Rachel Galperin. She's been on before, a health coach. And we're going to be talking about the AIP diet, autoimmune disease, core morbidities, and we're going to be talking about like sugars and sweets and sweet replacements. We're actually going to be we're going to be cooking together. We're going to be making a whoopie pie, and I'm going to invite you all to create that with us. You're going to see me post about it tomorrow in my stories on Instagram. And I'm going to post the ingredients list so you can go ahead and grab that. And you want to get a Japanese yam or Korean yam. I know, very interesting. Rachel put me onto it. They are delicious. I'm going to be talking about ancestor veneration with Lulu. She is an intuitive healer. And I'm going to be talking about dream work for self-care with Haley Lynn. She is the Lucid Mystic here on YouTube and on Instagram. We're going to be talking about dream work and lucid dreaming and you know, kind of a continuation of this series to, you know, tie it all up at the end. And that'll be the day that I also do the giveaway. So that's going to be next week. I'm going to go ahead and head out of here. If you all have any questions, send me an send me a DM, hit me up on Instagram, or you can leave me a comment in the comment section below, and I will be sure to get back to you. You all have a wonderful rest of your evening.